There is a smooth sailing route to life, and then there is a bumpy, chaotic, difficult other way. Both will get you to where you're meant to go. Both will have all the experiences and lessons that you're meant to experience in this perceived reality. And there's never a wrong turn, there's never a wrong decision. It's just what it is. And so I hope that we can start this video with you giving yourself some grace. That, you know, even if it's taken a while for you to make that decision that has been kind of in the background, or leap towards the thing that you've been desiring for a long time, even if you haven't done it, you're where you are right now for a divine reason and purpose, and it's all okay. And I think that, you know, well, I know that guilt and shame are some of the lowest frequencies and vibrations, and so it's really important to bring the light through those first, so that you can see more clearly, so that you can see the truth more clearly, so that you can move towards the light and be the light more easily. I interrupt you for this brief little chat about Lex the pony. So, if you guys have been watching the past few days, Lex has a fundraiser going right now, so we are trying to rescue Lex. You've probably seen him in other videos before. He's one of the same horses from the same owner that we rescued the other 5 from. So Lex loves to kick off every single rider of all experience levels, and except for this one girl, Nikki, little Nikki, who joined us recently as a volunteer, fell in love with him. They were soulmates instantly. They went off cantering in the field, and they're wonderful together. And so we want to rescue Lex. We raised, when I shared about this with you guys a few days ago, one of you donated a really significant, generous donation. Thank you so much. And that got us to that 3,000 mark that we were aiming for. We made the offer. Of course, the owner, if you guys remember him, he's like, more money. And so we're negotiating right now. We raised the amount to 5,000 so that if he doesn't settle for less, like how he was with the last horses, we can have more. And so the new goal is 5,000. I'll link that below if you want to donate. Whatever doesn't go to Lex does go to our hay bill, because the farm has, I think, like a $2,500 debt in hay. And so right now the hay quality is not super wonderful because there's like mold and all this stuff, but we can't really complain about it because of that debt. And so if you want to support Lex's story, Lex's rescue donation fundraiser, or donate to help get these rescue horses their hay and have proper care. This is Petya. She's a mule. She's gonna get broken soon so people can ride you. We can go out on the trails. So thank you guys for donating, and back to the video. And so with the smooth route, it's not always the easiest route, because the smooth route of life also requires a lot of self-trust. And so you can either, like I've talked about this before, but it's like in my last relationships, like all of the relationships I was in, and my previous jobs, I would know that it's time to leave, but I would not want to do it for many reasons. I would be in that lack mindset of like, I don't know if it's going to get better. I would be in that ego, like validation point of like, but it looks good. Like it must be good. And I would be in that people pleaser state of like, I don't want to upset this person and hurt them because I care about them. And they've done so many things for me. We've spent so much time together. You know, it could get better. And so I would wait for the situation to literally just blow up in my face. And then I'd be like, okay, oh, that was easier. Like, I'm laughing because it's not really easier. It's miserable. Like, it's miserable to have to go through the period of time where your relationship falls apart and there's fighting and arguing and maybe cheating and, you know, and they're just like destroying you emotionally to the point where you're like, I have to leave. Because even that is like ego victimhood of like, oh, I'm the victim. Like, now I have to go. Rather than just being in that empowered state of like, I feel it's time and I feel there's something else out there for me and I'm going to trust myself to walk into that and to close this chapter because of a knowing and a feeling. That comes from clarity and truth. And that is the smooth route that I was reflecting on my walk. I moved here to Europe. I'm in Italy right now, if you're new here. And I moved here to Europe at a time in my life where things were not bad. I decided to end that cycle, to work on ending that cycle, because even though like we do it, like we make the decision, we end the cycle, we work on it, sometimes it like comes in smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller manifestations, perceived manifestations of that same cycle. So it'll continue to happen until you really like alchemize all of it. And so I was like, okay, I live in a place that I love, this part of California. I have my friends that I adore. I live in a house that I really love. I have a car, transportation, like I have all my needs met. But I have this calling to go to Europe, sell everything, live in a van, see what happens. And so I went for that. And things have been incredible. They've been hard. They've been confusing. They've broken me apart. Not me, but like my patterns. And there's been grieving of that old self, grieving of that old thought of what I was here to do and here to be. And that's normal. I think that some of the toxicity in spirituality is like, oh, I'm all light and love and I don't feel anything. Woo! Like, maybe I've met people like that and I'm in awe. I'm like, is it real? And it could be. I have no idea. But maybe it's because I'm on the Pisces cusp for my sign. I'm Aries, but close to Pisces. I don't know. Maybe it's just my divine creation part of me, but I feel things deeply. I feel them so deeply. I always have. You probably have as well. Many of you probably have, and many of you probably grew up being told that, you know, you're so sensitive. And it's a gift, right? When you learn to like harness that gift and like really strengthen it and use it to your advantage, it can be so beautiful, right? I love that I can feel into a person when I'm with them and kind of like know what they need and also like know if I'm meant to open up in a certain way or close in a certain way or be a version of me for them. Like I can feel that, and it's a very natural process. I can also feel when something is not good, when something is not meant for me, and when I'm meant to turn away from it. And so we'll get into the topic of this video and the title, but I meant to go this route for some reason. And so what's also been happening recently that has made me, like yesterday in my video, just broke out into tears because this part, like the trigger of those tears was talking about the darkness that has been lingering in my perceived reality. Like, even though I keep making it my intention and my life's mission to shine and shine and shine and remember the truth and walk towards my truth and to not acknowledge those balancing forces, those pendulums, those things that feel like darker energy or feel like things that are not of the truth, like guilt and shame and worry and fear and lack and all these things. But also, like, the more that you shine your light, the more people and energies and things will all like be attracted to it. One of my friends said this to me recently. They come to you as if it's like bugs towards the light at nighttime. You know how all the bugs are just attracted. But then once they arrive, they're like, ah! what do I do with this light? That, like, you can imagine it, right? And when he said that to me, I was like, oh, that makes sense. But it has been overwhelming, and that's natural. That's the part where I'm like, I can't just be love and light about this. Like, I can admit that there are growing pains as you go on this spiritual journey. And so I've faced growing pains where, like, that's what happens. Like, you go on a good stretch, you're in that timeline, and you're like, oh, this is great. And then it's time to go a little bit deeper. And so then something happens to see where you're at, to challenge where you're at, a balancing force comes in. And so then you have the opportunity to grow and to bring more light and more truth through. But of course, it can catch you off guard, and it can become overwhelming. Like, maybe it's a really good friend of yours who just, like, up and leaves because they just can't handle you anymore, or a relationship or a job falls apart or whatever. Like, you know, you have that opportunity, like I'm saying, to work through it. And so that talking of the darkness being around me with my therapist and then bringing it up yesterday, it has felt overwhelming, like I said, but it has also been influencing me in a new way, more than ever, because I'm more aware. It's like what I was saying with the sensitivity thing, like, you can start to use it to your advantage. I think this has always been happening in my life, and probably in your life too, where of course, like, there's these darker forces around, and that's part of life, that's part of contrast, that's part of the experience. It's important to have this experience here on earth, to have these different levels of energy and whatnot. And so I feel that these darker energies have been affecting me my whole life, but I didn't have the skill set to see them. And now I can see them. And I think the emotions come in because I'm like, wow, like, my childhood, my early 20s, like, they were probably so influenced by these darker energies, and I didn't even realize that I was making decisions that were life altering because of their influence, and, like, I was lost in it. And so now I can see it, and when I'm, like, making a decision, or when I'm having things, like, drawn to me, and I can see that it's influenced by the darkness, I'm just like, like, get away, like, fuck you for being in my life for so long. But then it comes time to grow and to heal and to expand to the next level, because I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, it's not victimhood. It's that I had to go through those things. You had to go through those things in your life to get to this point right now. You are growing, you are waking up so that you can see these influences in your life, and you can continue to move forward and continue to identify when it's happening. When you have a lower vibration thought, you can work on catching it and being like, this is not mine. I talked about how when I would go into, like, LA traffic before, when I was working in my job, and I would commute there because I would record with different influencers and celebrities for advertising for our supplements. And I would just, like, have a shit day because people would be yelling at me. Like, some of the influencers were just, like, really hard to work with. And it was my opportunity to be like, no, this is not my chosen timeline, time to leave, which I eventually did. But I'd be at that lower vibration. Arla's eating a stick again. Have I shown you guys the view today? So sorry if I haven't. Isn't this just the most beautiful spot? I've been sitting here with my coffee. Yeah, I think coffee can lower your vibration. Someone asked that. Coffee, alcohol, these things. But I don't feel like, I don't drink. Not right now, at least. Like, maybe one day in the future I'll start having a glass of wine here and there. But right now it's, like, really time for clarity. But coffee I keep in because it's one of those things that I feel like I can shift. Like, I have the power to be like, this doesn't influence me. My mom is, like, a very powerful spiritual healer, and she can have a glass of wine and still do her healing work because she's good at, like, saying, this does not influence my ability to heal. And so it is, like, you have your free will, you get to create your reality. I've seen a Reiki practitioner before talk about how she's like, I just Reiki my pizza so that it's nutritious, and it is. And so I firmly believe that you can create your reality, but you have to like be very intentional about it. You can't just say pizza's good for me, like leave it at that, because if there's still like underlying subconscious patterns, then it's not going to work. It's the same thing as me going out into the field and being like, I'm going to face my fear of ticks, even though I had Lyme disease and it was like the most traumatic thing in my life. And I'm going to face my fear. And then I got bit by a tick because I still had those layers of fear within my subconscious. You have to address all of it. So I love you guys because I can go this deep. All I was saying was, here's my coffee. And I also have my little stone here. The 643 number, that was like randomly on the stone the other day when I brought it here. It's here somewhere. But this, I just, like I've said, I leave it here. It's part of my routine. I come here, I get quiet, I meditate, I get downloads from the divine. I hold my rock, I make my video with you guys, and it's been a wonderful experience. It has helped me a lot moving through this really potent time. And so this brings us to the topic of the video. What will serve you maybe the most right now is asking your brain the right questions. You've maybe heard of heart and mind coherence. And so when you can get your heart and your mind into coherence, a good way is just to breathe, focusing on your heart space, and then up on to your mind, and then down to your heart, and then up to your mind. And just doing this meditation where you're focusing on that coherence of the two. And there's different ways to connect to. I have my way that I love in the 21 Days to Know Your Divine Guidance. Also 21 Days to Rewire Your Mind. Both daily meditation videos have my method of connecting and like getting online, as I call it, which is just like becoming like a clear channel in this perceived reality with the divine, connected to earth, grounded but open. Arlo, babe. The other thing is someone left a comment about Arlo in a video recently, like, he's eating sticks, he's licking your hand, he's for the other thing was like licking himself, I don't know, he must be starving. And then someone else who responded like, I was thinking the same thing. It's like, you guys, if you asked him, he'd be like, yes, I'm starving, feed me, make her feed me. But he eats breakfast, he eats dinner. He gets little things in between. Sometimes he sneaks into the feed room and eats the horse food, which is not good for him, and it makes him puke. And so I monitor that, but he's eating, I promise. I have to limit it sometimes because he does get a little layer sometimes, but he's a healthy, happy boy. The healthiest, happiest boy. That's his mantra. It's been since day one, and I swear it's worked because he is the healthiest, happiest boy in the world. So you have to ask your mind, after you get into this like coherence place, it's very important to ask your mind the right questions. My example of like being in traffic, I don't even know if I finished that, but I don't think I finished that. I would be at work, I'd be yelled at and everything. I would lower my vibration the same way that, coffee and over-caffeinated, having a lot of alcohol, doing drugs, lowers your vibration. Then you're more susceptible to darker energies and not seeing that they're influencing you because you're at this lower state. You think that that's just you, like I had been talking about previously in my life and not even knowing. And so I'd be in traffic on my way home and I would be thinking these thoughts of all these other people in traffic because I was at a lower vibration. I was very influenced. I was very susceptible to taking that on. And so I'd be thinking like, oh, why is life so hard? Why do I have to sell my soul to make money? Why do I have to take this abuse from this person at work because I want to just pay my bills? And I was, then I would look left, I would look right. I'd be like, this is what these people are thinking. Like, this is what everyone here is like, just not everyone, but a lot of people. I could just feel that these thoughts were not even mine. Arlo, come on, babe. And it's like you could be at a restaurant and you could just not have your guard up in a way. Like you could be like not holding that energetic boundary, and the waitress serves you a coffee And then, you know, all of a sudden, like a few seconds later, you're just feeling like depressed. You're like, oh, I don't really feel like doing anything. I don't really feel like seeing anyone today, talking to anyone. I don't really feel like doing my to-do list. But just a second ago, you were feeling motivated. And so it's really important that we talk about this right now, because it can change your life. Like, you can then make decisions from that place that is not even you, just because you were not in a state to see what's you and what's not you. And so you have to ask your mind the right questions, like we were just saying. So you get into coherence and you ask from your heart space, but your mind is going to be part of this process. Your third eye will be part of this process. Maybe it's not. Maybe you just feel into it. Maybe you taste into it. Whatever the way is that you receive divine guidance. And I teach you guys how to do that in the 21-day course to know your divine guidance. And so then you ask yourself the right questions. Like, okay, I just caught this thought that felt like anxiety, that felt like depression, that felt misleading. Ask yourself, words are very powerful. I choose to receive the information that is of the highest truth about the situation. Or, you know, if you maybe make it an actual question, like, what is that the way that I truly feel about this from my highest self, from my highest potential self timeline, and see what comes through. Like, what is the truth in this situation? What is the truth in this thought? And so just putting in those phrases like highest truth, highest potential, highest self, highest timeline, and starting to look from that place. My favorite question ever is, for me, it's like, what would Araya do? And when I say my name, I make it very important that when I think about my name, when I acknowledge my name, I have fired the neurons together of my highest potential self with that. And so when I look at a situation or I'm trying to make a decision, and sometimes people will name this like alter ego version. There's also the book, The Alter Ego Effect, very, very powerful. So you have this version of you who just is like the most abundant, the healthiest, the happiest, lives in the dream house, has the dream business or job, you know, lives with the soulmate, like has the best animals, family, travels the world, whatever. And so there's that frequency. It's like you could bottle it up and put it into a little tincture with drops of that frequency of you. So my favorite question in any situation when I'm struggling, like I was trying to make that decision yesterday, what would your higher self do? Your most optimal self do? Maybe there's a different name. Maybe it's your name, but you start deciding to own your name, to own your highest self, to own your highest timeline, potent, like, what do we want to call this? Like frequency. We'll just call it frequency for now. But it's like in a little bottle, you could put drops of it. It's like you can, I don't know why I keep seeing this. I think it's important because it ties with that meditation that I've shared with you guys about the stone baths and that whole story of the Vatican of like, not nearly died, but I was very, very sick in the Vatican, lay down, I looked to the right, there's stone baths, and I had been having this stone bath, like visualization up in the highest dimension possible, like for a year or two. And so when I go into that stone bath with all my angels and guides, the archangels, and they're all working with me, they always put a drop of something in when I ask for, like, you know, can you please heal my body? Or can you please like guide me on this? Or can you please like give me the gift of this or whatever? They walk up, one of them specifically, I'll see who it is depending on like whatever it is and the topic. And then they just put a drop in from a little thing. And so there is a little thing of your highest frequency, highest potential. And so just maybe hold that. Maybe you visualize right now like that being dropped into your crown chakra and just like melting down into your entire body, and then asking the right questions. So you ask from that, like after that, you ask yourself, what is the most important thing for me to focus on today? What is the best decision that I can make to support me in getting to my most optimal self, where I am the richest I could ever be? And that's not a bad thing. I have no bad associations with being rich. If there is within your being, I would maybe encourage you to look at that. Why do you think being rich is bad? You probably, if you're here right now, I really am so confident that if you are rich, which you are in a timeline, you are like the richest motherfucker there is, because there's infinite timelines, infinite possibilities. You in that timeline, I am so confident that you would use that money to make the world a better place. Even if you just spend all your money on self-care, like getting massages, going to healers, like going to the best yoga retreats, like having a really cozy, beautiful, aesthetic home that inspires you. Even if that's all you spend your money on, you are raising your frequency and becoming such a lighthouse that it will be like infectious to others. And it will be, you know, probably very confronting to others. And that's why others create these thought patterns and these beliefs that rich is bad. But you will make the world a better place, because you will be the inspiration and the evidence that somebody else needs to see that it's possible. And so you can ask yourself from this place, after you do this coherence, maybe this meditation with the drop frequency, and say, you know, what decisions will support me in getting to this timeline where I'm a rich motherfucker, or I'm the healthiest version of myself, or I've found my purpose and I'm living out my mission here on earth and I'm making a difference, or I'm creating my art and I have the time to create my art and to make music and to travel the world and to spend time with my friends and my family. What decisions, what do I need to focus on? What can I let go of? What is not serving me anymore for my highest good? And then you're in this place of truth and empowerment, and none of these darker forces or energies can influence you. And if they knock on your door, you're going to be like, aha, I recognize you. You're not welcome anymore. Bye. That was a fun one. That was a really good one. I love this. I love doing this with you guys. It supports me so much, and it's such a magical experience. And I understand now why I was having that call to start doing YouTube like a decade ago. And I'm so glad that I started this channel with you guys this year, and I can't wait to continue to grow and grow and grow with you. Today I'm going to look at the double-decker bus. I've been sitting here, staying open, trying to receive divine guidance, asking myself the right questions about it. And I feel that it is necessary to go see it. And me being the way that I am, I know that I will be able to feel into it with strong intention that nothing else can influence me. Like when I go into it, I will literally, my process is I will be envisioning like a golden bubble around myself. I will be feeling into it. The guy's going to be saying something in Italian and my friend's probably going to be translating it and all this stuff. And I will be in this other realm with my guides and angels and the archangels. And I will be like, hello team, is this bus for my highest good? And then this other perceived reality will be happening outside. And then I will chime in. I'll say, and then I will come in here. I'll be like, so team, what do we think? And then we will make the decision, and I will share it with you guys tomorrow where we're at on that. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new here. Leave a comment if you feel called to do so. If you don't know what to say, you can say, hello, Arlo Bobardo. He is the best dog in the whole wide world. And I have my 21 days to know your divine guidance, 21 days to rewire your mind. Those programs are life-changing. They were life-changing for me when I learned all those tools. And I have my 12-week program all about deconditioning and remembering the truth of who you are and getting what you want. And that is not available for sign up yet, but I will probably make the link for it. Let's set a time. I will make the link for it. What's today? Thursday? I'll make it by Wednesday. On Wednesday, this coming week, there will be that link if you are ready to sign up for the program, and I will then tell you when it begins as well on Wednesday. So, love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.